So in the last chapter of the Van Gogh Cafe, we had the Silent Star who came into the cafe to meet a friend and then sadly died waiting for his friend. But the coolest part about that is he had returned back to the place of his first love. So he was in the theater doing in the place where he did his life's work, which is kind of cool. But then Cynthia Rylant left us with a little hint about the next chapter. Um, it says, but the star will not be the last wanderer making his way home by way of the Van Gogh Cafe. There will be others. In fact, one is about to land on its roof. Magic is never wasted on a wayward gull. So we don't have these birds here because they're usually called seagulls, and one thing we're missing here in the mountains is a sea. However, where does the story take place? Kansas. Pull out a map, children. Kansas is also missing a C, so it really is wayward. It really is lost. Let's see what's happening. The wayward gull. Everyone knew when the seagull arrived at the Van Gogh Cafe because as soon as it got there, it robbed Bill Waters. Bill had just finished lunch and was out on the sidewalk, sticking a dollar bill into his wallet, when the gull swooped down, plucked the bill right out of his hand, and ate it. People said the gull must have heard some mother say to her child, "Here's a dollar for lunch," and gotten all mixed up. So now it is February, and there is a seagull living on the Van Gogh Cafe. This is odd, even for the people of flowers who have grown used to strangeness. But there is a gull on the roof, beside the oven vent, and everyone is having to adjust. Of course, Clara loves having a gull. After she heard about Bill Waters, she went out on the sidewalk and fluttered a dollar bill around a few times, hoping to bring the gull down. It didn't work. But when she fluttered a few French fries, the gull showed up right away. Evidently, the money hadn't agreed with it, but it loved the fries. So each day now, Clara is feeding the gull. She has become quite fond of it, and the people of Flowers have gotten used to having a seagull in town. Things are almost beginning to feel normal. But there's a cat across the street, and magic is about to happen. The cat belongs to Linda Everly, who owns a nice used paperback bookshop across from the cafe. The cat's name is Emerald, and she has been living in Flowers for 9 years without ever seeing a gull. And now she has seen one. Clara is the first to notice Emerald's new hobby. Clara is filling up the ketchup bottles in the cafe when she looks out the window and sees Emerald carrying someone's mitten in her mouth. Clara smiles at Emerald and goes back to her work. She doesn't understand yet what is happening. But the next day, she sees Emerald crossing the street, trailing a long scarf, and Clara begins to wonder if maybe some magic is starting. And when the following day she sees Emerald lugging someone's snow boot across the road, Clara is certain there is magic going on. Clara walks outside the cafe to see where Emerald has taken the boot. She looks up and down the sidewalk, over by the trash cans, down the alley. Nothing. Then she hears a happy cry and a meow. Clara steps back until she can see the roof of the cafe and the oven vent where the gull is living. And there sits the gull, the cat, and about 10 mittens, 5 scarves, 3 mismatched boots, and a sock. Emerald is in love. Clara brings her father out to see the pair on the roof, and as they are standing there, watching romance happen, somebody else comes along, and somebody else, and somebody else, until there are about 20 people standing in front of the Van Gogh Cafe looking up. This is enough to attract a photographer from the Flowers Gazette, and she snaps a picture of the seagull, the cat, and the winter apparel. The photograph appears in the Gazette the next day, and somebody from the Associated Press sees it and puts it on the wire service. And the next thing you know, Emerald's love-happy face is in newspapers all across the country, just because she brought some warm clothing to a seagull in Kansas. Soon after, cameras are filling up the Van Gogh Cafe, and Clara and Mark are on national TV. Once this happens, letters begin to arrive at the Van Gogh Cafe from all over the country. They are coming to the cafe by the hundreds, and what most of the letters are asking for is a feather from the gull because people believe the gull is an angel and that its feathers will bring them good luck. Well, of course, Clara and Mark aren't about to pluck feathers from their gull. They wouldn't do it under any circumstances, but they especially won't do it in February when a gull needs all the feathers it can get. Still, the letters trouble them, for they think their gull might be in some danger, and they are right. One night, as Mark is working late, baking pies for the next day, he hears a scuffling overhead. When he goes outside, he sees a dark figure on the cafe roof grabbing at the gull, which is flapping in the air just above the oven vent. Mark yells, and the intruder slides down the back of the roof and runs off into the night. The gull settles itself again beside the warm vent, and Mark returns to the cafe, worried. Things get worse. Every few days or so, Mark sees someone new in town lurking around his cafe. He has a bad feeling about these people, and so does Emerald, for she has lost all interest in romancing the gull. She stays in the bookshop where a cat is safe. Mark doesn't say anything to Clara about the bad feeling in the strangers and flowers. He doesn't want to worry her. But of course, Clara knows. Clara watches everything. She's been watching these people and she doesn't like them and she wants them to go away. Clara knows there is only one way to make them go. So every time she goes outside with a French fry in her hand, she tells the gull as it swoops down, "Go to California." 3 or 4 times a day. Go to California. The letters are pouring in and strangers are lurking and things are not right at all at the Van Gogh Cafe. Clara wonders where its magic has gone as she and Mark put the 20th bag of letters in the alley beside the back door. But sometimes magic takes a little while longer to get where it's going, especially in February, when the weather can slow anybody down. Clara need not have doubted the cafe, for real magic is on its way. In fact, it's landing right now. It is about 5 o'clock on Thursday afternoon when Clara sees the first gull, 5:03 when she sees the second, 5:05 when she sees the third, and by 6 o'clock 50 new seagulls are sitting on the roof of the Van Gogh Cafe. Everybody in flowers passes by and just shakes his head. They are all getting used to this. Yet Clara knows that magic is the reason for the gulls. She waits to see what will happen. Mark just wanders about the cafe, more worried than ever. By closing time, nothing has happened except for a lot of squawking. Clara and Mark lock up and go home. But the following morning, something has happened. Something wonderful. The gulls have eaten all 20 bags of mail that were sitting by the back door. All those crazy letters from people wanting a gull feather are gone. And there are 51 fat, happy gulls on the roof. Mark's spirits are high, Clara's faith is restored, and then comes more. At about 4:30, a big U-Haul truck pulls in front of the cafe. Two young women step up out of it and come in for some coffee. They're traveling west on I-70, and it is good to have a break from sitting in that truck, they say. They relax and drink their coffee. And as the women sit, Clara looks out the window and sees a gull fly down and land on top of their truck. Then she sees another, and another. And within minutes, every gull from the Van Gogh Cafe is on top of the U-Haul truck, waiting for the women to finish their coffee. When the women do, they go outside, and there are 51 birds sitting on their truck, looking at them. Well, what are you going to do when a gull wants a ride? You're going to give it to him. So the women shrug their shoulders, climb into the truck, and back it out onto the road. And as they are pulling away, Clara, who is still standing at the window, sees the side of the truck for the first time. On it is a picture of someone surfing in the ocean. It says, "California, America's moving adventure." This is some of the best magic Clara has ever seen at the Van Gogh Cafe. She watches the birds drive away and knows that Mark's bad feeling will disappear and no more strangers will be lurking and the cafe can rest a while from all the excitement. For the next couple of months, the phonograph will softly play, the hen will smile, dogs will be blessed, and things will be just perfect by the time the door opens, and in walks the writer.